This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. Still have a minute to go when I can welcome you here. Now this is recorded. Quite a number of people online today. It is an interactive session, so everybody can speak up. Ernest will present, and as I know, Ernest, you cannot see when people are raising their hand. Could we do it like that? Who would like to talk, please open your camera, and I could let Ernest know that someone would like to call. That means, beside Ernest, please all close your cameras now, and then when someone wants to talk, you open your camera, and then I can call you into the session. Ernest, I think the floor is yours in that case. You have permission to share the screen with the gray button in between camera and the leave button. Don't press the red one. And you need to press the left one as well, which is your microphone.
There you go. Thank you, Andreas. Really appreciate it. So I'll share the screen in just a second. I have just a few comments to make before we get started. So hello, everyone, and welcome to this year's ISTA Open Rules Committee meeting. Just so you guys know, I'm actually at the AOSA meeting right now, so I'm not in my office at home. I am in a hotel room, and this air conditioner is kind of funny. So, Andreas, if the air conditioner sounds behind me gets distracting, let me know. I can just turn it off, okay? So, prior to this meeting, and according to the ISTA requirements, the ISTA rules proposals were published more than 2 months prior to the OGM. This requirement is to allow ample time for you to consider the proposals. Now, in addition to this requirement, the ISTA Rules Committee has scheduled this online forum to allow open discussion and feedback regarding these proposals. The ISTA Secretariat sent notice to all members and stakeholders on the date and time of this meeting. In addition, the Secretariat asked for comments prior to last Friday, asked you to send comments prior to last Friday to ensure that your comments were discussed. Today, we will review the submitted comments, and if time allows at the end, we'll take on additional feedback. The discussion at the OGM will be limited to what we do not resolve or cover completely today, and obviously the vote. New topics at the OGM will not be heard unless it's critical to the integrity of the rules. Finally, to the TCOM chairs and vice chairs, please be prepared to unmute your mics and respond to the comments as we're going through the comments document. As Andrea said earlier, I'm going to ask someone from his team or him to monitor the hands that are going up and let me know at the end of each section if we have any comments that need to be heard on the proposal that we're discussing at the time. Before we get started, or right now, you guys might want to go ahead and download a copy of the rules proposal so you have those handy. That way, when I'm strolling through, which may be at a pretty rapid pace, you can actually look at the ones you need to focus on in case you have a question on what we're talking about. Hopefully, everyone that submitted proposals, Sue and I were able to include your proposals in this rule proposals, your comment in this rule proposal document, comments document. If you notice while we're going through that your comment is not in the document and you submitted it, make sure that you start your question to Andreas with "I've already submitted my comment." That way he can let me know that that is a priority that needs to be heard today. And with that, I'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen now.
Does it work, Ernest? Or do I need to make you presenter? Let me quickly see. No, you are.
Yeah. Okay, you guys see it. Great.
Yeah. Let me remind you again, all please who are wanting to talk, please open your camera. When your camera is open, I will give you the platform. So if you are not willing to talk now, please close the cameras.
All right. Again, you guys, I'm not at home, so I don't have my mouse. I'm trying to do this all from my mouse keypad, so please bear with me if things don't start off okay. Hopefully, as we go through these and I get the hang of things, it'll go a lot more smoother. So we'll start off with the editorial corrections. A1, 8.1 editorial corrections. This first editorial corrections is change required due to inconsistency in the guidance between section 1.5.2.3 and other sections throughout the rules regarding reporting to calculated totals to 100%. This proposal was submitted by a member laboratory and it was approved by the ISTA Rules Committee. Just a second for you guys to see that what was added was 100.0 there on the right-hand corner of your screen. We did not receive any comments for this, so right now I'm going to keep going just in the interest of time. We have the proposals that we did receive comments for may require a lot of feedback, so I'm going to go ahead and submit your comments to Andreas if you have any on any proposal that we're not talking about, and if we have time, we'll come back to them. The second editorial, Andreas?
Yes, we will. Yep.
Okay. The second editorial correction, when going through the new rules for 2024, it was noticed that there was a small error in chapter 1, pages 1 through 9, in the sentence on how to report moisture of pelleted seeds. The word seed was missing after a word, so this was corrected, and you can see that here in red there, and actually that should be blue. I'll change that. We did not receive any comments on this editorial correction either.
And no comments.
The next editorial correction, wording updated to be clear that information in the ISTA Handbook on Seedling Evaluation is a guide and not the ISTA rules. This update was requested by the ISTA Accreditation Department and it was supported by the Germination Committee. We did not receive any comments on this proposal, so we'll keep moving for now.
No comments from the floor.
The next editorial correction, to make it clear that top of sand and top of organic growing medium cannot be used if not prescribed in table 5A. This came from a discussion of the ISTA Accreditation Department and the Germination Committee and is supported by the Germination Committee. You can see the change on the right-hand side of the screen in blue. And we did receive a comment on this proposal, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, so the comment that we received on this proposal was that it would be clear to add the words unless they are before the word prescribed in table 5A. So you can see it here inserted, and I'll change that to blue so that you can see it clearly and see that that was the change in the proposal. But this proposal was agreed to by the Germination Committee, so we will make this a change that will be in the voting document at the OGM.
No comments from the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Andreas.
There's an open camera now. That's, oh my goodness. It's all getting too short.
Okay.
That disappeared now.
Okay. So just in the interest of time then, Andres, I'm going to keep moving,
Yeah,
okay?
we go ahead.
All right. So the next editorial change is to make it clear that that when information is requested on categories of other germinated seeds, or to make it clear when information is requested on other categories of seed. This change was requested by a member, and it is supported by the ISTA Germination Committee. We did receive a comment on this, which I'll show you shortly. First, I'll show you the change. Basically, what it was is that on the right hand side, under C, there should probably have been an A. So C before the germination test, and right before X-ray, the letter A to go along with the lettering of the other paragraphs that were changed from points to lettering on the left hand side.
Yeah, here I have a comment.
Let me show that first before they get started on that comment, Andreas. So this was the comment, and you see they added the letter A right before X-ray under C. The Germination Committee agreed to this comment, so this will be changed in the OGM document. Andreas?
My comment is that I checked the rules, and the C dot before just above the X-ray is not in the ISTA rules.
The C dot is not in the ISTA rules. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that the Germination Committee
may be able to check that again, but I looked at it, and there it says A dot like it is before. Here's an A, there's an, yeah, it looks a little bit different. The points and things, you may have to check that again.
Will do. So I'll have I'll ask the Germination Committee to look at the current rules to make sure that it matches up as closely as possible. And during the OGM, if there is a change to the formatting, which it looks like there will be, you'll see that in green at the OGM, and I'll go over this section again, and I will open the floor for questions again because this may not be complete. It's not going to be completed right now. Any other comments, Andreas? Unless the Germination Committee chair would like to say something.
Further comment from what I see. There's an open mic.
Hello. I would just like to look on the right screen, clarify that we will look at it. I think what's happened is just that we've split up what originally was A into A and B, and I think that's maybe where the C has come from, because the start, it's just the way the paragraph's written, but we will clarify it and come back with an exact answer. Thank you.
No problem.
Sounds good.
I just had a look in the morning because, and I found it very, very different to what I saw in the rules. Just check that again, then everything should be fine.
Great. All right. Andres, if you don't have any more comments on this one, we'll move to the next one. This next editorial change is to correct the reference to section 5.7E due to the rules change approved at the 2023 OGM. So in 2023, the letter A was deleted in the section, which required the remaining sections to be renumbered. As a result, the reference in 5.7E must be corrected to reflect this change. And this was requested by the ISTA member laboratory, and it was approved by the ISTA Rules Committee. And you can see that it's not E anymore, it's changed to A, B, or D in the section.
No further comments on the floor.
We didn't receive any prior to, so we'll move to the next Next proposal. This next editorial change needed to update the species name and processes through several methods within the seed health chapter. These changes were approved by majority vote of the seed health committee. So what I'm going to do is just scroll through to the end of this, and then I think we did have a comment on this proposal. And actually, what I'm going to do now is while I'm going through it, because this proposal is so long, is I'm going to go ahead and go through the comments while I'm going through the proposal. So the first comment had something to do with 7-005. And the comment was, for method 7-005, does the quantity of streptomycin sulfate need to be quantified? Does someone from the seed health committee, the chair or vice chair or designated member, want to respond to this?
Yes, of course, Ernest. This is Ruud. I will put on my camera. Well, as mold agar can also be interpreted without using any antibiotic, we and in the what is it in the preparation ingredient streptomycin is indicated. We thought it was very it is necessary to indicate this for labs to add streptomycin. So it's mold agar plus streptomycin. And other scientific reviews or other media, you sometimes see a minor M before a medium's abbreviation. This means modified, and modified is added with well, their antibiotics added. Since we're using the full name, we think it's wise to just indicate which antibiotic needs to be there, and that's why we added it in a strict way, also because it was not harmonized in all the rules.
Okay. So does it needs to be dissolved to be does dissolve need to be quantified? So does it need to be quantified, Ruud?
Well, in this case, it isn't. At this point, it isn't. But in the tables that with the ingredients, it's specified what the quantity is. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Sounds good. For these comments, Ruud, if you don't mind, at the end of this presentation, I'll send you a draft of this document out. If you can add your response to it, so that
Sure.
people can see it before the OGM. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
As we keep scrolling through, I'll stop at the next comment for this proposal. And we are already there. So the next comment was for method 7-011. And it says this talks about Unuta, but the method is for another pathogen. I'll go back to this so Ruud, you can see what they're talking about. So it's for this pathogen, but it's talking about Unuta in the method, and it sounds like it's this Unuta is what should be the pathogen. Basically, is I think you mean it to be as an example, maybe, or it was meant to be an example. I know this isn't a current change, but this was just caught while people were going through this section.
Okay. Well, this is something I have to look into then.
Okay. Okay. I know this may be the first time you're seeing this, so I'll have this. We'll talk about this at the OGM, and I'll give people an opportunity to comment at that time. But for now, if you would like, you can still respond to it, and they can respond to your comment at the OGM.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Okay. Then we'll keep going to the next one. The flow chart is referring here to here is at the very end of this proposal.
Yep.
And so we're at the next comment is for 7-021, and for it says, why is the description of the method development in the rules? This is not a new addition, but the question remains. So let's see. So basically, we're calling it. Well, I'll show you on the new. Here. So this is not a new proposal, but it's saying a new pathogenicity assay was developed. I guess every year it's going to get older, so it's not always going to be new. So it may be that we need to rethink about this wording.
Okay. So if I understand correct, there is a new pathogenicity assay described. I don't think that's the case though, but okay.
Okay.
It is only
Maybe
that we changed the names here since there is a new taxonomical name for the pathogens.
Okay. So maybe it's just the way this looks or the way it's worded. Maybe that's something that the committee may want to look at.
Sure.
Again, I think every year, if this is in here for 5 years, it's going to always say that. So we need to probably should look at that anyway. I'm not sure who submitted this comment. I've taken out the name of the person that did it, but if you have anything else to say on this, you're welcome to open up your mic if I didn't describe the issue correctly. I'll keep going through while and Andreas, at the very end, you can let me know if you got any additional comments.
Yes. Again, who wants to say something? Please open the camera. Steve is here.
Ernest and Ruud, if I look at the text that was the old text on the left-hand side, even many years ago it said a new pathology assay was developed at INRA. So I think it's just in general, do you want to keep saying it's new when it's now old and now being updated?
There
exactly.
is it. Now I see. Yeah, so indeed we need to change that because it's not new anymore. It was there in the It was
It
new.
probably wasn't.
In new intended. What is it? 2012, I think. If I see so, well, probably later, but it was new back then. So that's something that we missed. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Clear.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, Steve.
So if the Sea Health Committee would like to change the way this is worded, we can go ahead and make this change, and I'll show it in green at the OGM so everyone will be able to see that change.
Yeah, great. We'll work on that.
And this is a couple of pages, so I'm just going through this kind of fast. Nothing else was changed or modified. and I did not receive any more comments on anything else.
Alison, any comment on that? If not, could you please close the camera? Thank you.
Okay, and this is the updated flow chart that's going to replace the current flow chart in the ISTA rules. All right, so now we'll get into part C, rules changes and new methods requiring a vote. The first proposal, C.1.1, revised conditions for issuing OICs when sampling in different countries. The ISTA Executive Committee and the head of the ISTA Accreditation and Technical Department of ISTA reviewed the link between Section 301 of the ISTA Accreditation Standard and the sampling and testing sections in different countries. It is the opinion of the ECOM and the head of the Accreditation and Technical Department that ISTA laboratories can only be legally responsible for samplers within their own country, or samplers employed by them in another country, unless covered by the ISTA company multi-site accreditation directive. We did receive a comment for this one, and first I'm going to just go through it really quick so you can see it. So this was the clarification that was added to this section. And we'll go look at the comments. So the first comment was, it is suggested to improve the clarity of the gray box providing background for the proposal. In essence, point 3, an accredited laboratory sampling entity from country A cannot have, is the consequence of the proposal. It would facilitate clarity if this is removed more to the top of the box. I'm going to respond to this first, and if someone disagrees with me, or if someone from the ECOM or the secretary would like to respond, you can also. But I do not think that this is a problem with clarity. I'm going to go to the gray box so you can see what was written there.
Eric, just wait a minute.
Okay, 1 second. All right. Let's see. So the reason I don't think this is a conflict is because it's still hedging everything that is said below on this sentence here. If the proposal is accepted by the membership, it means that. So none of these things will happen unless the proposal passes. That's what this means. It does not mean that this is already something that's in place. Am I, Andreas or Steve, would either of you guys like to comment on this?
There's a comment from Eric in the moment. Let's start with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one question. Ernest, do you switch to the comment paper? We don't see that if you switch.
No,
Do you
we
see it
didn't.
now?
That's
No,
not
we
the
only
comment.
see the rule.
We still see the rules proposal.
Oh, the whole time all.
Okay. What about now?
Nope.
I'm sorry?
No,
Wow.
only rules
Okay.
proposal.
Have you guys been seeing the comments paper at all?
No.
No.
Wow. Okay, so this whole time I've been switching back and forth and pulling my.
We're very patient with you.
Oh, I see that. Wow. All right. Let's see.
Ernest, I think it's okay if you want to explain those comments, but like Eric said, we're not actually seeing them to follow them through with you. So
Okay.
if you're going,
Okay.
if it's easier to stay with the proposal document that everybody can follow, you just need to explain the comments. But if they are detailed comments that you want to go to, I think you have to kind of somehow switch your screens around, but they're not displaying.
Yeah.
The only document we're seeing is the rules proposal document.
I didn't realize it was doing that. So thank you guys for letting me know that. All right. Can you see the comments document now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Great. Great. We'll stay on the comments document for just a second because I think this is the comments documents. It is pretty detailed for the comments that were suggested were pretty detailed. So this is the first comment here. It's suggested to improve the clarity in the gray box, providing background for the proposal. In essence, point 3, an accredited laboratory or sampling entity from country A cannot have is a consequence of the proposal. It will facilitate clarity if this text is moved more to the top of the box. Steve or Andreas, did you guys want to comment on that?
So I think your explanation you gave, Ernest, was correct, is that the grey box was supposed to be there to say, if you guys in the membership approve this, this is the consequence of it. So that was, like you explained, was how we formulated it. But if people don't understand it that way, we can change it again. But that was the reason for staying it like that. So people were clear what would be the consequence if they voted for the proposal.
And again, heading off those 3 points
I
that
have
were
to
mentioned.
say that for me, the wording in the proposal is clear.
Yeah. Right before you get to the 3 points that this comment is suggesting, again, it says that one sentence that lets you know that if the membership approves of it, that this will be the case. And so, so I think there's, I don't necessarily agree with that comment. I'm going to go ahead and go to comment 2 because it's really along the same lines. Depending on the wording, point 2, a sampler from an accredited lab sampling entity in country A can be sent into country B for sampling. And point 3, an accredited lab sampling entity in country A cannot have a sampler located in country B can seem contradictory. Again, the same thing here, or really similar. I don't think that these are necessarily talking about the same thing, and I think they're talking about 2 different scenarios, and so they're not really contradictory to me. But again,
Not at
Secretariat
all.
or
The first one would be that the sampler is in country A and is temporarily sent into, maybe we can add temporarily sent into country B for sampling. And the other one is permanently in the country and maybe even in a different legal entity, which is not a legal entity of the company in country A at all. And if it is a legal entity of the company in country A, this would fall under the rule for, Lorena, you need to help me on that.
Yes, so this will be coming under the Directive ACD 06B, accreditation of laboratories with sampling units at multiple sites.
Okay, thank you. I didn't have the number in my head. You are much better in that. Thank you. Are there any other comments on this? From the
I mean, I
comment
really want to make sure that the person that submitted
that
the
it
comment
is
that they are satisfied
contradictory?
also.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the person that submitted the comment is also satisfied. So if you are, again, I kind of disagree with what was said here, but in these comments, but if you would like to make your point clear, it's definitely okay to get on the mic right now.
Yeah, so this is Jeppe from Denmark. Hi. So I've submitted these two comments actually, and the first one was just a general comment from our laboratories. We had a pre-meeting here saying that the whole background was maybe a bit very detailed. So it took a bit to get into the essence of it, but I agree it's quite clear. So that's all good for me. And the second one here is just, it's a matter of wording, the point 2 and 3, where if a sampler is sent from one country into another, then he is at some point located in that country, right? So that's the only thing. So it's more like, because I think also there's a little bit when you get to the actual wording of the rules proposal, it could be a bit more specific, maybe because it should state where the person, the sampler, is addressed, or has his own address, or is a citizen, or stuff like that. I don't know if it could be made more specific. So just to avoid any misunderstandings along the road.
Yeah, we could have a look if the wording could be a little bit better in the.
Yeah, because I get the meaning, but
yeah, but the important thing is the gray box is not in the rules later. Only
yeah,
Exactly.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But
So
also, yeah.
If we can get people to understand this, again, like Andres said, the gray box is not in the rules. It's just meant to get you to understand what the new text in the proposal means and a little bit of the background for it. So we don't really have there shouldn't be any confusion over this wording in the gray box in the future, because no one will ever see it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But also just a comment to what the wording in the rules could also be a bit more specific then, because how it is now is it refers to their own country, and what does that mean?
Yeah,
yeah, but that's all good.
We will have a look in wording it a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah, super.
Yes,
Thanks.
we will have a look for more clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeppe.
Okay, thank you. All right, and moving to the next comment. This is a little bit longer comment, but I want to make sure I read this because it may affect more than just the person that commented on this. In addition, it's up here on the screen for you to read too. So, as an ISTA laboratory handling samples from multiple countries, we have concerns about this rule change proposal affecting seed trade globally. Currently, ISTA accredited samplers in some regions do not have the ability to train samplers or have an ISTA laboratory to utilize within their region. The current ISTA accredited samplers will be the individuals most affected by this rule. The samplers have become trained as ISTA accredited samplers to utilize ISTA methods and obtain ISTA orange certificates to better their company's business and move seed internationally. The ISTA training and sampler accreditation they've received is allowing them to utilize the ISTA program. This rule would make it impossible for seed companies in countries without an ISTA accredited laboratory to use ISTA at all. If samplers cannot be trained because there is not an ISTA accredited laboratory locally available to train them, they lose the ability to use ISTA in regions where no training opportunity currently exists. These countries would no longer participate in ISTA. This rule change will limit seed movement from their country into other countries that require ISTA orange certificates if there is no laboratory that offers ISTA testing or sampler training. One might suggest to set up an ISTA laboratory in the region, but that takes time and resources that many countries do not have. This change could seriously affect their businesses. These companies will have to find a different way to move seed, perhaps resulting in pushing their receiving clients into using different systems for seed transfer. Buyers and countries may currently require ISTA orange certificates, but if the rule change is accepted, the supply chain of many may become too difficult. The process may have to change to accept an ISTA blue or a different system altogether, which could potentially affect the quality test outcome for the seed lot they're shipping. The long-term ramifications of this could affect ISTA and testing laboratories. The ISTA orange certificate is currently referred to as the seed passport and is considered the faster way through borders to help with international shipping. If we're cutting off samplers in countries that have no current opportunities in their region or country, it might result in ramifications that we are not currently alerted to and could cause a snowball effect. The end-use client is the one who's most affected here. When the rule change proposal comes out, we need to reach out to our clients looking for feedback or informing them where they can direct their concerns to ISTA. As an ISTA accredited laboratory, we have great pride in how we train and audit our samplers, and we appreciate being able to help the seed industry move seed throughout the world. However, we are concerned with this rule proposal limiting the ability of many countries to participate in the trade of seeds. And I'm going to move directly to the Secretariat to see if they for comment, and then maybe someone from the rules from the Ecom and the accreditation department. Andreas.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ernest. First of all, we have to say that samplers are not accredited. The accreditation process is for laboratories with sampling units or with only sampling entities. There are no accredited samplers, like, for instance, AOSA has accredited or registered seed technologists or seed analysts. That is not the case with ISTA. The point here is that the facility is accredited by ISTA. And if they have samplers as well, then it must be made pretty clear that they have hold of these samplers legally in their place of jurisdiction. That means for us, if a sampler is on the other side of the globe, how can I have control of this sampler? How do I train them? Do I bring them into my country? But how do I have legally control about that? That is totally unclear. And we also see that in some cases, which we found, samplers were also certified, or how you want to say that, in countries which had ISTA sampling and accredited sampling entities or labs with sampling entities. And that is, for us, not understandable why this argument is coming here. We have other areas and countries who bring in ISTA samplers when they need it from other neighboring countries to do the sampling in their country. It's very difficult, and for us, it's a legal point here. Do I have control over the samplers, and how can I make sure that I have control over the samplers in a legal way? That can only be if they are part of my legal entity, at least on my organizational chart and located in my country. So maybe if there's a different opinion on that, the organization who put in this comment is able to say something on that point. But for us, it is not that easy to see that, and it was not allowed when companies or organizations requested ISTA if that is fine. So this is only a clarification here to what always happened and what was always done. And if you have the need of having a sampling unit, you can go for multi-site sampling sites, or you can only have a only sampling entity in your country. The other way is send samplers out of your jurisdiction into another country, do the sampling, and the samples are taken back to your organization. That's a comment from our side, and maybe explaining what we wanted to achieve with that. We have to be clear that others were not allowed to do so when they requested it to the accreditation and technical department and the secretariat. For this reason, it's purely legal reasons behind it, and it's not overseeable. It's even difficult for us in the accreditation and technical department during the audit to oversee this process. Marina, you want to add something to that?
No, thank you. From my point of view, you mentioned all aspects that to be considered when we prepare this proposal. But this proposal, as you mentioned, I would like once again to say it's a clarification because this aspect was identified by the accreditation and technical department, and it was highlighted by the auditors, but also by some accredited members. Nothing more to add.
Steve, do you have anything you would like to add?
Keshavulu?
Yeah, you can ask any further comments or clarifications from the all of you. If any further, yeah, you can ask. Yeah, Steve, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No worries, Kashavulu. Ernest, I don't have anything to add at this time. Like Andreas explained, it all stems from the accreditation standard and the legal responsibility of the lab and being able to be responsible for people in other countries if something goes wrong.
Great. So Steve and Andreas, if you guys don't mind, I'll send you guys this document. If you could summarize your comments so that people can read that and have it available so they can make a decision at the OGM as to whether they want to vote for or against this proposal.
Yeah, thank you very much. We see if that proposal, if that this work continues as it is now, and everybody's doing that, then we will have no overview anymore inside the accreditation department and during the audits, who is doing what and who is sampling where. Because what was identified as well during an audit was that inside the sampling unit, or the sampler who was accredited was not using the company which accredited him, which is not the right word because that cannot be done, but was using his company. And there it was absolutely not clear who did that sampling, or was it done by a sampler of ISTA anyway? So that was very complicated, and we would like to avoid these things in future, because that would make sampling or auditing for the sampling and also the way the laboratory receiving the samples afterwards would make it extremely complicated to follow things up. And we heard that this also happened to in another company a second time, and that was not helpful. So to avoid that, we would go back to the normal way, and the normal way is described in this blue paragraph, and we try to word it a little bit more better.
Thank you, Andreas. Do you have any comments, Andreas, from the audience?
I see no open camera here.
Okay, so with that, we'll move forward with the next proposal. Chapter 2, sampling, C.2.1, revision of Table 2C to include minimum moisture weights. The current Table 2C for lot sizes and sample sizes is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 for agricultural and vegetable seed, and Part 2 for tree and shrub, and Part 3 for flower, spice, herb, and medicinal species. It was not always clear which part a species should be listed. To remove some of these inconsistencies and to make it clear, the Bulking and Sampling Committee proposes to merge all 3 parts of the Table 2C into one table with all species listed in alphabetical order. In addition, it is proposed to add a new column showing submitted sample size for moisture testing, since in Table 2, this information is directly available to seed samplers preparing these samples. This proposal was approved by majority vote of the Bulking and Sampling Committee with agreement of the TZ Committee and the Moisture Committee from both those other committees. And what I'll do is show you the new document. The scientific names on the left-hand side of your screen is not italicized. We'll have those italicized, obviously in the rules for sure, but hopefully we can get that italicized before the OGM also. So the last column is the new column that was added to show the minimum submitted sample size for moisture testing. And this is how the new table will look in the ISTA rules.
We have a comment here from Eric.
Okay. Give me 1 second before we get to Eric's comment. I have another one I need to read that was submitted earlier also. Okay. So I'm just going to read this comment instead of trying to switch back and forth because it takes a long time to do that. The question of understanding regarding the addition of references in Chapter 9.2.5.1. Table 2C is now added to the existing references to Chapters 2.5.4.5C and Table 9A. There are no references to submission quantities in Table 9A. It is possible that this could be inferred in Table 9A via Column 2, grinding and cutting indirectly. Why is Table 9A given here as a reference to the quantity of submission samples for the moisture analysis? Are we misunderstanding something here? Perhaps I better share the screen.
Ernest?
Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that screen now. That comment now. C.2.1 is the one I just read.
Corinne is here as well. Maybe you want to say something to that directly,
Yes.
Corinne, from the
Yes,
BS.
the idea was just to remove the refer to table 2C, no, to add it, but I think we could remove this part because there is another proposal 9.1 done by the Moisture Committee. So we could just wait for the part proposed by the Moisture Committee.
Absolutely as well.
9.1.
Okay. Sounds good. So am I hearing that you agree with this comment?
Yes, also moisture committee would say as well, 9C can, the table 9A reference can be away at this point.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Andreas, did you say you had
Your
another
comment
comment?
is still open. Your question is still open.
Yes, my question?
Yeah, you opened your camera, and that's why we.
Yeah, no, okay. I have a question about this. Is it also possible to make a column for the accreditations groups in the table 2? That was our question in the Netherlands.
Someone from the would like to respond to this from one of the committees?
Yeah, maybe Rujing, Florina, me, and Steve. Steve, you were a little bit less quick than I was. Rujing, you go first.
My comment is table 2C, the proposal is to merge all three parts together. So the other proposal later in germination, if I remember correctly, is to propose a table to become one merge, agricultural, another one is for tree and shrub. So whatever the way, the comments we had is ISTA rule need to be consistent. If we merge every chapter merge together as one table, or we separate as proposed in other one is agricultural, another one is tree and shrub. Whatever the decision, I think different chapters should be consistent. So that is just my comments. I'm done.
Florina?
Yes, I agree with Eric. It will be useful, and I started some time ago with Corinne also to do this exercise and to put the crop groups connected with the application for accreditation, so accreditation scope, because I'm thinking that at least for the beginning, for the laboratories, will be a little bit difficult to manage one table in the alphabetical order. They are used with 3 parts. It was easier to connect with the crop groups. So I can contribute to add also the column Eric proposed if for the bulking and sampling committee it's acceptable, because in this way will be easier for everybody. And also I can add that I can propose that in the spaces in column 6 where there is no ISTA method for moisture to put not applicable or NA, just to make it clear that it's nothing committed, is not the case. That's all from my side.
Well, maybe you can stay on because Florina, I've got a question on that as well. In the moment, the crop groups are defined by voting of the executive committee, right?
The crop groups, yes, are approved by the executive committee.
If we put the crop groups in here for each species, I understand, right? Then the voting would be by the membership, and it can only be changed then through a membership vote of the rules. And the table for the crop groups would become obsolete. We have to be a little careful with things which we do because it may have consequences to other points as well. It may be nice to have, but if we do it, this is a voting by the membership on the crop groups. And you can only change that by voting of the membership then anymore, not by voting of the econ or change anything in the crop groups.
So could I offer a, yeah. So I was going to say, could I offer a compromise there? Because I mean, Florina and Corinne and I and others had worked on the mergers, and we'd also worked on the accreditation crop groups. And like you said, Andreas, if you put the crop groups into the rules, it will be an annual thing that's voted on and has to be voted on by the membership, whereas at the moment it's taken care of by the accreditation working group and then the ECOM. So one thing that could be made available easier, Eric, is that chapter 2 is free to all members anyway, so we could make a document that's easily available on the ISTA website that has the species alphabetically and has the crop groups next door to them, because the other thing that we're seeing is that some species are appearing in more than one crop group. And that was one of the reasons why it was, you know, we weren't sure whether to do it yet or not. So we could make a document that very much mirrors Table 2C, doesn't have the weights in it, but has the crop groups in it. But I mean, like you said, Eric, to try to make things easy for the labs, we could try to make something that was easily available and available on the ISTA website. So I think it's a good start of a discussion. One of the reasons to make this table alphabetical is that sometimes people would say, hey, that species isn't in the ISTA rules, we can't issue an Orange International certificate on it. But it's because they didn't remember to look into part 2 or part 3 of the ISTA rules where that species was listed. So again, you know, we're trying to help people find the things. I take Rojing's point that to make them consistent between the different chapters, that's more a decision for the Germination Committee to talk about or respond to, because I think they must have had a good reason to still keep the tree and shrub separate. But maybe Gillian can give us a comment on that as well. But I do take Rojing's point as well. Try to be consistent. Thanks.
Hi, Steve. I think really for the Germination Committee, we would have to discuss it again. I think we were happy to merge table 5A, well, you know, the 1 and the 3, but we weren't able to go as far as the trees and shrubs. We wanted to keep them separate, but it is certainly something we can look at again. In my mind, I thought it was maybe something to do with the columns, but I've just had a quick look and it's not. So if any of my colleagues on germination would like to comment further, please jump in. But at the moment, I'd have to take it back to the Germination Committee to discuss it further. Thank you.
And it may be one step at a time as well, Gillian, because it's taken a while for us to. I mean, back in the early days, there was only one table of agricultural species, and they were alphabetical. Then other things were added and they were alphabetical. Then people thought it was better to split them up to make it clearer for people the purpose. So, you know, things are going round in a circle or a cycle. I do think Florina's comment is a good one, because about the not applicable for column 6 though, because in column 5 where the dash is, it doesn't mean to say you can't have a weight. It just means you have to work the weight out for yourself. Whereas in column 6, if you put a dash, people may be misled to that as well. So it needs to be not applicable for those spaces. So I think that's a good comment, Florina. But sorry, Ernest, I don't mean to take over.
No. So are there any additional comments, Keshavulu?
Yeah, so I also just support the comment from the Florina, I think. So the crop groups, again, a few changes, the few changes which were proposed from the accreditation working group, there are only the 4 changes in the crop groups that may not be I mean, they are not the many. So probably we will discuss this in the ECOM meeting, and then if needed, maybe we can also take again further comments and suggestions from the each TCOM, and then let's think about it. Then how can we just separate these tables? Yeah, so that's a good comment, and yeah, I support for it. Then let's discuss. Thanks, Ernest.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. So Jillian, I heard you said you're going to take this back to your committee. That's great. Whenever you guys have something, if you don't mind, just making sure you share that to me, especially if you have something before the OGM. Worst case, we'll just open the floor up and you can speak about this during the OGM.
Yeah, we'll certainly we'll have a look at it and I'll get back to you shortly. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to move forward, you guys. We're halfway through our allotted time, so I was hoping to get out a little bit earlier so I won't get kicked out of my hotel room prior to the end of this meeting. Chapter 3, the purity analysis. C.3.1, Table 3B, Part 3, revised the definition for the definition of the seed unit. The definition of a seed unit could be further improved for its clarity for applying the ISTA rules. Whether the dispersal unit is a seed unit was debated and highlighted in ISTA PT Proficiency Test 22-2 with a natural vegetative tuber propagule of Cyperus esculentus, an objectionable weed in agricultural situations in many countries. The proposed definition for the seed unit is aimed at improving clarity, being more inclusive, and aligning better with the widely accepted term as a plant dispersal unit for seed testing. This proposal was discussed in the purity committee and voted on and approved with a majority vote. We did have comments on this, so let me get through those comments first before we open the floor. First, I want you guys just to be able to see what changed.
I don't see any open cameras.
Okay, great.
Are we still online?
Yes.
Yeah, now I can see the screen again. Sorry.
Unfortunately, when I'm switching between documents, I have to go out and come all the way back in. So the first comment, the definition of the seed unit was introduced in ISTA after strong debates, accepted and used without problems. The new proposal seems for me not well considered regarding the consequences in the wording and regarding the inclusion of tubers. I hope that any decision will be stopped or at least postponed as the proposal is not helpful for the aims of ISTA. Let's see. I don't know if the purity committee wants to respond on that one. If not, what I can do is just go through all of these because all of them are all of the comments because they're all along the same lines, and then the purity chair, vice chair, or designee can respond at that time. The next comment is says that this comment was meant for both C.3.1 and C.3.3. And it was a bunch of individual questions that I'm sure will not be able to be answered right now, but I'm hoping that the purity committee can make a response prior to the OGM for everyone to see. I'll read through them anyway. Will the new proposed definition of pure seeds 64 for Cyperus esculentus tubers also cover other plant species whose propagation materials are tubers, example potatoes, or other structures such as garlic or lilies? The next question, what does this definition mean, and will it include tuber fragments? There was another comment. We would like to point out that the new definition of pure seed applies to vegetative propagation material. At the same time, this species reproduces generatively through seeds. Should there be two definitions of pure seeds for this species? If so, what about other species that reproduce both vegetatively and generatively? We agree that tubers in some that tuber in some cases is how invasive species spread, but it's also true for a lot of other parts of plants as well as for inert matter. For example, non-organic. For example, non-organic as soil. Should it be a reason for adding a PSD? And another one. In some ISTA member countries, EU member states, for certain species, example, cereals, oil, and fiber plants, the certificates must include the number of fungal sclerotia found in a sample with the same weight as for other seed determinations. This is independent of reporting the presence of sclerotia in the purity test as percentage by weight. Currently, reporting the number of sclerotia is not covered by any of the means in the ISTA rules. Sclerotia cannot be reported as other seeds in accordance with Chapter 4, nor is it a method of seed health. Similarly to the introduction of reporting of vegetative reproductive material, vegetative propagal, the Cyperus esculentum tubers, and as other seeds, will it be possible in the future to report the number of sclerotia as the number of other seeds? We have concerns about adding a definition of the PSD for a vegetative propagal. Before I get to the next one, I wanted to know if the purity committee chair wants me to keep reading and you respond to all these at once, or if you want to respond to what I've already read, since I've read so many.
Routing is online.
Okay, so I can respond now, then later on you can continue. So the proposal, if you go back to look at the proposal, our intention is to clarify seed unit definition. So this is not from purity committee initially. So it started from ISTA member labs to have a question about clarification of seed definition. So when we receive a request, purity committee do look into it and respond to the members' request. So compare current definition. The definition, the word should be very precise and concise. And the current definition, we find there have several wording require further clarification. So the clarification made the definition is more clear, such as previously used commonly find. So commonly find could be interpreted differently. So second part of the question, people wondering about tuber. So that is another proposal. So it's not truly related to seed definition. However, the seed testing, whatever the orange certificate is based on Table 2C, only species listed in Table 2C can issue orange certificate. So this definition definitely do not in any way impact your regular seed testing. One of the comments say, are we going to including potato? Potato is not in Table 2C, so it's not going to be in orange certificate. However, this definition will help when people encounter the other seeds, the purity analysis. When you do purity analysis on the scoped species, you're able to classify accurately for what is inert matter, what is other seeds. So other seeds need to have seed unit definition to be clarified, and also need a pure seed definition. When there have no pure seed definition, it's not qualified as other seeds. Currently, soil, for sure, no pure seed definition. Ergot sclerotia, no pure seed definition, so it's for sure is inert matter. However, this esculentus, it is reproduction organ. It is encountered by some country there when they do purity analysis. So this proposal just enable laboratory to classify plant reproduced organ to be other seeds. Okay, so that is my response so far. You can continue, Ernest.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Regine. So this next one gets to what you were talking about just a second ago a little bit. Are tubers of Cyperus esculentus really a problem in seed lots? Actually, According to the ISTA rules, it's very clear to judge them as inert matter and declare the kind of inert matter on an ISTA OIC or BIC. If there is a proven need for regulation of tubers of Cypress esculentus as propagation material or seed, we have to revise if ISTA is the right body of responsibility. Such a basic change of ISTA's responsibility has to be discussed with ISTA's stakeholders, so ISF, OECD, etc., before elaborating, going forward with an ISTA rules proposal. If there is proven need, we will have to clarify with our stakeholders how the needs are and how to implement them in the ISTA rules. The actual definition of the seed unit is widely chosen to imply those seeds, fruits, and all other structures being of relevance in the seed business. There is no need for a change. Just a request of a participant of an ISTA PT regarding the definition of seed and seed units ends up on a proposal for a change of a basic definition of the ISTA rules after a discussion of the purity committee. The proposal is rather a widening of the definition in an area where ISTA is not responsible for a precise definition. There was a couple of there's a little bit of information in here about definition of true seed, and the last paragraph here says, if this definition is agreed, ISTA labs will be obliged to determine and identify fern spores, spores of dosh, horsetail, etc. in all samples. Is this what ISTA member labs want, and is it helpful in the seed trade? In this consequence, the ISTA rules proposal C.3.3 should be withdrawn. So that was a lot, Regine. I'm not sure if you want to say anything to that. Again, it kind of got to what you said, to what you were talking about earlier. This one brought in the fact that this commenter believes that we should get the industry involved before a proposal is considered by ISTA.
I disagree, because seed testing is our responsibility to do seed testing accurately. When we do seed testing for purity, it's lab's responsibility to classify them accurately. So this proposal is to help ISTA lab to classify other seeds, which is not inert, then made it very clear, and they have something to follow. So current ISTA rule is not clear on this. The PT is prepared is because it's representing the potential scenario or real scenario in seed testing. So it's not hypothetical. So PT preparation with the last panel with this esculenta, it representing real seed testing situation. May not happen in your particular region. It could happen in other region. For example, North America, this is invasive. It could be encountered in real seed testing. So this is a testing to make sure your result is accurate. The lab can classify seed propagules or dispersal unit uniformly. So which is not stakeholders' responsibility. It's seed testing lab to follow ISTA rule, provide accurate result to state what is inert, what is other seeds, what is pure seeds. So it doesn't change in any way of seed testing responsibility or ISTA rule. Okay, that's my response.
Thank you, Regine. And I just want to say I definitely agree with you. I do not think it's ISTA's responsibility to to reach out to stakeholders for them to help to make this decision. It's always good to get input from our stakeholders, but we as government organizations need to make sure that we're doing things for the best industry in the best interest of seed trade, and you know, at times that's not exactly what other stakeholders may approve of. We'll move. Andres, do you have any comments from the audience?
No further comments.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second. I have to switch my screen again, unfortunately. Okay, you guys should be looking at the rules proposal document now. C.3.2, Table 3B, Part 2, PSD 36. Revised to remove the requirement to examine the caryopsis of 3 genera. PSD 36 mentions no need to check for the presence of caryopsis for only 3 genera. This proposal is to extend this to all genera in PSD 36. The proposal was discussed in the Purity Committee and voted on and approved with a majority vote. I did not receive any comments for this proposal. Andres, do you have anything?
No comments from the floor. There's one, Pedro.
Hi, hi everybody. It's just a comment that one of the genus inside with this PRC definition is Urocloa. That is the most important species in Brazil as a globally trade, and bring this species to the exception as it is for Megathyrsus and Panicum or Digitaria would be a nonsense for every quartet member in Brazil. So just a comment. So we fully disagree with this changing.
Great. Thank you for that comment. All right. Being that I don't think there are any more coming from the floor, we'll move on to C.3.3, Table 3B, Part 2 and 3, revised to add PSD 64 for dispersal tuber and its definition. The tuber pathway is a vegetative reproduction. The tuber pathway of plant vegetation reproduction, and in some cases, is how invasive species are spread. ISTA Proficiency 22-2 highlighted the issue with a natural vegetative propagule of Cyperus esculentus, an objectionable weed and in agricultural situations in many countries. The proposal is to classify tubers like those of Cyperus esculentus as other seeds rather than inert matter in seed testing. This proposal was supported by a majority vote of the Purity Committee. And I'll scroll down so you can take a look at this. I did have a comment for this one, so I'll show you that in just a moment. All right. Okay, C.3.3, Table 3B, Part 2 and 3. The proposal includes the specification of a further exceptional species in addition to Poa babosa, Cyperus esculentus. We consider a prior survey in the ISTA laboratories on occurrence and frequency in the propagation business or occurrence in seed samples to be useful. Table 3B, Part 3 glossary. The vegetative propagation unit tuber implies for us the inclusion of planting material analogous to potato in the ISTA rules. If whoever made this comment would like to expand on that a little bit, you can open your mic now to do that. Otherwise, it just seems like it's a comment, not necessarily something that need to be responded on. But Regine, if you would like to respond to this comment, you can.
Really no further comments. As I said before, this is to assist purity analysis for classification because potato is not in table 2C, so it will not be as a crop to issue ISTA orange certificate. So tuber, this definition only can assist purity analysis for other seeds classification. So I would be very surprised when you do a regular testing, you would encounter potato. So that is a rare events to be happening. So this is just a system for purity analysis. It's no way to intention to include other vegetative crop as a seeds to be analyzed. So separate this pure seed definition, separate this definition from your seed testing you going to do for the crop. So only be used for other seed determination in purity analysis or other seed determination. Yeah.
Okay. Andreas, do you have anyone coming up with any other further comments?
No, no one.
Okay. All right. Moving forward then to the next proposal. I'm not going to switch back to the proposal document.
We have
because
Corinne coming up now.
Yeah,
maybe you want to say something.
my colleague has a question.
Yes, hello, Clotilde from Jeva speaking. Just one comment on this last proposal. For me, it's entirely linked to the change of the definition proposed for seed unit, meaning that if the change for seed unit is not approved, there is no need to add tuber in this part. And if the change for seed unit definition is approved, then there is the consequence is to add tuber in this part, right?
Regine, I think that's probably a question for you to answer. If the first one, go ahead.
So it's not necessarily linked. So seed unit definition clarification is to say what is a seed unit in seed testing. We just gave example. Those could be examples. So pure seed definition for 64 is particularly for tuber. So if this one, so it might impact the first one, the examples. We can remove tuber if this didn't pass, but it's just an example. So it is not totally linked. So this is a pure seed definition. The other one is seed unit. Is that clear to you?
Not really.
So seed unit definition is a clarification. It just indicates seed unit, you must have a pure seed definition, and you it is plant dispersal unit. So we just gave a few examples. So seed unit definition is a clarification. Then this pure seed 64 is new.
Anything else, Regine?
No.
Florina, is it directly to that one?
Yes, it's directly to that one. If I correctly understood, if will be a definition, but only for the other seeds and not for pure seeds when we work we perform a purity test. So then this must be clearly specified, because the lab that also the auditors will be confused. So I propose an addition to clearly understand that it's only for the other seed determination.
So other seed determination, you must have a pure seed definition. For seed testing, you only can testing seeds specified in Table 2C. ISTA rule made this very clear. So when you test a crop kind to issue ISTA origin certificate, it must be listed in Table 2C. So that should be very clear, right? Table 2C doesn't include potato. So that means you don't need testing to potato.
If I can say, just out of confusion, it includes potato, but true potato seed. Just to make that clear, potato is in there, but as true potato seed.
Seeds, yeah, correct. So for seed testing, which was governed by Table 2C, then the rule currently is very clear. Then you need to do purity analysis to determine other seeds which must have pure seed definition. So when you do purity, then you clearly understand whatever purity definition exists, then you could classify them as other seeds. So respond to Florina, so it should be clear in current rule. Right?
Or it should be clear in chapter 4, or it should be moved somehow in chapter 4, because it's other seed determination than pure seeds. But we can continue the discussion, not now, to block the process.
Yes, I agree. We probably need to move forward.
Yeah, Norbert, you have a comment as well? Norbert? You're still muted, Norbert.
Okay. Hello. My regard is regarding the seed unit. I do not see the necessity to include the tubers. And if we look at the species, we realize that there are not only wheat or cyperus species, but also cultivated ones. And I find there are some things which have to be considered before voting finally. Thank you.
Yes, this has been discussed within Purity Committee, and also this is the clarification. As I indicated, the intention is to clarify and give lab ability to classify some invasive tubers in the purity analysis or other seed determination, because lentus or potato tubers are not in Table 2C, then it will not impact majority of our seed testing. I don't think in seed testing you will encounter potato as contaminant. So the concern here is really able to classify invasive species which has tuber to be a means to spread, and also consider the testing uniformity for inert matter. If a tuber end up in inert matter, that is going to impact the inert matter weight, that cause the non-uniformity result as well. So our intention is to provide the data, provide the current definition and a new definition to make our testing more meaningful to the end user.
Okay. With With that, unless there's a response from the commenter right now, we're not going to take any more comments on this. We need to move forward so that we can make sure that some of these other comments get heard also. So moving forward to C.3.4, revision of 1.5.2.2, 3.2, and 3.7 to clarify special tests conducted on component purity parts. Laboratories are often required to report the presence of other things found in seed samples. This proposal change clarifies that testing in excess of the minimum purity working weight is allowed for customer-related calculations of component parts. The ISTA rules currently allows this, but it's not clearly stated. This proposal also harmonizes ISTA with the AOSA rules. It was discussed in the Purity Committee, and the Purity Committee agreed to it by majority vote. And the primary change to the proposal is can be seen here. And I did receive comment for this proposal. And Regine, after this, you're off the hook, okay? So this is the last one for you. Okay. The first comment for C3.4, is it not required to report the working sample weight when the weight differs from the purity? Often these tests are requested on the complete OSD weight. Regine, do you want to answer that one first before we get into the next one?
Yes, sorry, I'm also in another meeting. Yes, so so current rule does say you need to report the working weight if it's excess 10%. So the question is, do we need to report the weight? The answer would be yes.
Okay. The second comment is related to soil. There's been a purity project group. There was a purity project working group some years ago regarding the testing of soil, the definition of soil, and the best way to test for soil. A comparison of the testing for soil in different ISTA labs worldwide has been shown, and the analysis is done differently in many ways. As well, it has been impossible to find a common accepted definition of soil. This has led to the conclusion not to change the rules regarding the definition of soil or soil. Sample weight. The requests for this proposal are coming from phytosanitary needs. ISTA will have to find a good solution to answer these questions, but this proposal is against the general principle of ISTA, which is well understood in the seed business worldwide for decades. What has been well understood in the seed business for decades. Reporting percent weight is a purity test result, and reporting number of seed is an OSD result. Therefore, this proposal should not be moved forward. Regine, any comments for this one?
Yes, so OSD is other seed determination. So like previous definition, you must have a pure seed definition. So this request is to report purity, impurity, soil erosion, disease bodies such as those. So currently the rule allow more than minimum weight to be tested. So this proposal is upon request. It's not regular testing. Upon customer request, you're able to use other seed determination weight, so which is requested by customer. So you use more than ISTA required minimum weight to do the testing. When you report this proposal, it allow you to write what you used weight, which is over 10%, and the exact weight is OSD portion. So this is still purity analysis. It just upon request, you can report what is working weight you used to calculate your soil or other disease body. So this is could be related to other use, but no matter what use, is upon customer's request. ISTA rule do allow many situations upon request, you can do report. So this is a clarification. This is to provide a way for seed testing lab, when they receive customer request, they can do more than minimum weight to report other impurity components. So this is with many years request, able to facilitate other use, which is not compromise in any way of ISTA rules. It just upon request. And also the method is follow it method is more than minimum requirement. It's not less than minimum requirement. So that is
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Regine. All right. So we'll go, in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and move forward to the next proposal. Chapter 5, the germination test. The first proposal is C.5.1. You guys should be seeing the rules proposal document now. This proposal is revised to improve the wording that paper can be used as a base medium with any other combination of growing medium prescribed in Table 5A for a particular species. This issue was raised by a member and is supported by the germination committee. Let's see. The change is here on the right. And if this changes, there's a consequential change to add crepe cellulose. In 5.4.3.1. I did not receive any comments on this proposal, so we will move forward to the next proposal.
No comments from the floor.
C.5.2, expansion of species of the list of species that exhibits hard seeds. The primary purpose of this proposal is to expand the list of families in the ISTA rules 5.2.10.1 that have hard seeds. The proposal also includes some of the families that do not exhibit hard seeds. The secondary purpose of this proposal is to remove the reference of Fabiaceae in the ISTA rules, section 6.5.2.1.2. This proposal will harmonize the ISTA rules with the AUSA rules and is supported by the germination committee. I did not receive additional comments for this, so I'll stroll through this one and move to the next proposal. Andres, do you have any comments?
No further comments.
There is a consequential change if C 5.1 is accepted, and you can see that here. Basically just reference changes.
No comments.
Okay. C.5.3, the addition of pre-soaking method for Beta vulgaris. The addition of a pre-soaking method for Beta vulgaris as an additional method for removing inhibitory substances. This method generally reduces the amount of water required to remove these substances from Beta vulgaris before germination. This proposal does harmonize ISTA with the AOSA rules and is supported by the Germination Committee and by a method validation study. You can see the change here. And we did have a comment on this, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, there was one comment for both C.5.3 and C.5.4. General comment. Currently, ISTA rules 5.10 states alternating temperature regimes are indicated by the double arrow symbol between temperatures. It seemed like a common problem that software automatically changes the symbol that's expected to another symbol, and some laboratories have had nonconformities for having this other symbol on their ISTA certificates. The symbol can be seen in the examples in the rule change proposals. Would it be possible to allow the use of either symbol in the ISTA rules? This would solve a problem for laboratories that have software ISTA issues. The Germination Committee was able to submit a response before this meeting, and that response is: the Germination Committee is in process of discussing this issue. Currently, it would be preferable to continue to use the symbol that we've already been using, and for laboratories to use this to use the stop automatically changing options to avoid the use of this computer generated image. However, this will need to be discussed further to see if it will be possible to use both symbols. So I think again what this is saying is they're going to discuss in their committee if they will allow that, just in case this happens to happen. Hopefully it won't be a finding later. Jillian, if I'm getting something wrong, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to C.5.3. I'm sorry.
All
Go ahead,
good so
Jillian.
far. It's all good so
Oh,
far.
great. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the proposal that we just went over now, more specific to the C.5.3, the addition of a pre-soaking method for Beta vulgaris. The proposal is in general supported. However, there is a specific question on the required documentation for ISTA audit purposes for the water temperature during the pre-soaking process. Is the logging of start-stop temperatures sufficient, or should temperatures be logged throughout the process? The Germination Committee's response is the Germination Committee's understanding is that for pre-soaking, the temperature should be monitored throughout the process to ensure the temperature stays within the required limit of 20 to 25 degrees C. Our expectation is that the temperature monitoring is also in place when pre-washing is carried out to ensure the required temperatures are met. Unless the person that submitted the comment has a follow-up, or Jillian, you have additional information, I'll move forward to C.5.6 up to the next proposal.
No
Andreas,
further
any
comments
comments?
from me.
No
Okay.
further comments from the floor.
Great. Okay. The next proposal, C.5.4, the merger of Table 5A Part 1 and Part 3 into Table 5A Part 1. The merger of Table 5A Part 1 and Part 3 being renamed Table 5A Part 1. Table 5A Part 2 will remain unchanged. This proposal comes from discussions during the ISTA annual meeting in 2023 held in Verona regarding the merger of other tables within the ISTA rules, example, Table 9A. This proposal is supported by the Germination Committee. I did not receive comment on this, so I'll stroll through. And meanwhile, Andreas, you can let me know if you have anything from the audience.
Now, if you stop here for a second, I see in that proposal the temperature regime is having that computerized generated symbol.
Ah, yes. But no worries,
So,
because the
that is a
Germination Committee is working on
non-conformity.
this. No worries, though. The Germination Committee is working on this, so we'll have this all worked out soon.
Just wanted to let you know.
Absolutely.
Gillian?
Yeah, it was just to say that we had noticed in this document and reported back that this had happened in the document, so we were aware that it was causing an issue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make this change, so apologies for that. All right. So if this change is accepted, there is a consequential change that will need to be made in 5.6.53. And you can see that change there. I meant to take out the highlights. Apologies for not doing that. And Andreas, any more comments on this proposal?
None.
Great. We'll move forward to the next one. C.5.5, additional advice for testing spinach. ISTA proficiency test PT 22-2 highlighted a higher than expected level of C and BMP ratings for the germination. Further investigation showed that the amount of water added to the media was an important aspect of germination for spinach, as it's water sensitive. The additional advice column has been updated to recommend the low moisture level advisable. A report showing the evidence to support this wording will be published in Seed Testing International, April 2024. So that should have already been published. This proposal harmonizes ISTA with the AOSA rules, and it is supported by the Germination Committee. I did not receive any comments to this proposal, so Andreas, when we get to the end of the document, you can let me know if there was anything that came in from the audience. And that's the low moisture level available.
No comments.
All right. Moving forward to C.5.6, clarifying temperature variation requirements for germination. This change is to make it clear and more precise that the temperature range allowed is plus or minus 2.0 C. This change was requested by a member and is supported by the Germination Committee. And you can see there the addition of 0.0 so that we can be more exact with this. I did receive a comment on this, and so I'll take you to that comment now. And the comment was, I'm not sure I really agree with this change. If you do it here, it needs to be done throughout the ISTA rules, example, in the RE testing. And is it really necessary? 2.1C is above 2C. Or maybe an overall statement might be better to state that all temperature limits in the ISTA rules are at the 1 decimal place level, so that for above 2.2C, 2.04C is okay, but 2.1C is not. Jillian, any comment for this proposal?
Well, We were just really trying to be clearer that it should be plus or minus 2.0, so not even plus or minus 2.01, 2.0. And it's just, it was just really trying to be clear. But again, go back to the committee because we didn't have a chance to discuss this one before the meeting and see what the thoughts are and come back to you.
Could you go back to the
So,
rule proposal?
We'll go back to the
yes.
rule proposal and look
No,
at
yeah,
it
go
again.
back. I just want to have a look.
Okay, give me a second. All right, you should be seeing that now.
If it's plus minus, I would agree with the 0.0 actually, because it means that it should not be more than 2 plus and not more than 2 minus. But this wording 2.0 is making it more clear.
So Jillian, I think the thing to do again would be what you just suggested. Go back to your committee, make sure everyone is still in agreement with this, and just let me know before the OGM so that I can bring this up and let everyone know what the outcome of your decision is.
Thank you, we will do.
Okay. All right.
No further comments.
Thank you, sir. The next proposal, Chapter 7, Seed Health Testing Methods, C.7.1, Detection of a pathogen in chickpea chickpea seed 7-033. This method includes the detection method to identify the pathogen and the optimal pathogenicity test to confirm the isolates. There is a method validation study to support this proposal. The entire method 7-033 as proposed for the ISTA seed health methods can be found in the appendix of this rules proposal document. Obviously, AOSA does not have seed testing method within its scope for us to harmonize with. This proposal is submitted by the Seed Health Committee. I did not receive any comments for this proposal, Andres, so I'm going to stroll through and great. All right. And Chapter 9, determination of moisture content. C.9.1, adding table 2C to Chapter 9 as a point of reference. If the weight of the moisture sample drawn by the sampler is added to table 2C, then table 2C should be included in the reference in 9.2.5.1. The moisture committee suggests including table 2C in the reference and deleting the reference to table 9A. This proposal came from both the bulking and sampling committee and the moisture committee, and it has been approved by majority vote in both committees. I did not receive a comment for this proposal.
No comments here.
All right, we'll move to the next proposal. C.9.2, clarification on testing ISTA recognized Lupinus species for moisture testing. The Lupinus species was added to the ISTA rules in 2023 under the agricultural species as Lupinus spp. In the 2024 edition of the ISTA rules, this listing is now valid for flower and other Lupinus species, which may have smaller seeds than those intended for the current coarse grinding method of the species. As a result, the Moisture Committee, in consultation with the Bulking and Sampling Committee, proposes to name each individual Lupinus species appropriate for coarse grinding to avoid confusion and testing error. This proposal is approved by majority vote in the Moisture Committee. I did not receive a comment on this proposal. Here you see
no
that
online comment.
Great, we'll move forward. Here you guys, you'll see that Lupana species is going to be removed and individual species will be added to the rules. Chapter 15, Seed Vigor Testing, C.15.1, the addition of a new species to the radical emergence test. Glycine max is a species to which the radical emergence test can be applied. The radical emergence test has been shown to predict differences in field emergence of soybean seed lots. This proposal was approved by the Vigor Committee. I did receive a comment for this proposal, and I'll get there in just a second after I show you the change.
Alison, I see that you're waiting to say something, but let's first have the proposal here. Ernest? Are you still there, Ernest? Oh, yeah, now again. Welcome back.
All right, I apologize, everyone. It's really bad when the host when the main presenter gets kicked out, huh? Andreas, if you can allow me to share again.
Let me see. There you go.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So, get back on track, and we're almost done, you guys. So another 5 minutes, and we should be done. There was a general comment for this proposal. It says that we agree with the addition of glycine max to the radical emergence test, but miss the concrete information and references for the exact assessment of root length. Where does the measurement start at the root system? Is one question. Here are some different approaches to the radical morphology between, I guess it meant there are different approaches to the radical morphology between wheat and maize as representatives of Poaceae and rape radius or soybean. Pictures or drawing would be helpful here. The Vigor Committee's response to this is the different approaches to measurement of the radical result from the background research carried out on each species. The length of the radical selected is the one that gave the best relationship with the field or glasshouse emergence, i.e. vigor differences between lots. We can work on the provision of photos for the revised vigor handbook, which is well on its way to completion. The length of the radical for glycine max 2 millimeters or more is measured from the point at which the radical emerges from the seed coat to the tip of the radical. There was another comment. Proposal C15.1 is supported in the gray box with the sentence, the radical emergence test has been shown to predict differences in field emergence of soybean seed lots, i.e. to identify differences in seed vigor. I was wondering which difference in the field emergence of the two soybean seed lots is predicted by the radical emergence test when for one seed lot the result is 70% and the other 85%. I was not able to derive the predicted difference from the cited paper in SST. Could the authors of the proposal be so kind as to explain the prediction potential of the test? And the response from the Vigor Committee was, the question, first of all, is not clear to us. A vigor test identifies the differences in vigor of seed lots, i.e. the potential for differences in field emergence. In this case, the differences in vigor resulted only small differences in field emergence due to favorable field conditions. Nevertheless, the radical emergence difference correlated with the differences in field emergence, i.e. radical emergence predicted vigor. Radical emergence predicted vigor. In less favorable field conditions, the difference between the seed lots will be greater due to poor emergence of low vigor lots. The vigor test does not give a specific estimate of emergence, only the relative differences in vigor. The actual emergence will depend on field conditions. I think those are some pretty thorough responses, but if the chair of the vigor committee would like to add, you may at this time.
Well, I'm quite happy if there are questions on those statements. I think it's important to emphasize that vigor doesn't give you a specific result because it's a relative assessment, and that prediction does not mean to give an actual value. Prediction isn't a decisive fact. Prediction is just to suggest what might be the case in the future based on previous experience.
Okay. I couldn't hear too well just now. I'm not sure if you guys were able to capture a lot of that, but if there's anything that needs to be added to the Vigor Committee response, other than what I already have, I'm guessing this was just a bit more information to what's already responded to. We could add that before the OGM.
Okay,
Sorry, I can add that additional information later if you wish it.
Yeah, thank you, Alison.
Thank you, Alison. Yes. All right, and the last proposal. All right. The effect of temperature on the radical emergence percentages. The temperature is an important variable in the radical emergence test. The test may, for some species, be conducted at 1 or 2 validated temperatures. For ZMAs at 20 or 13 degrees Celsius. Testing at both temperatures will result in the same ranking of seed lots in terms of vigor, but the radical emergence percentages will differ. We've added the proposed text to clarify this, and it's been accepted. This proposal was accepted and approved by the Vigor Committee. I think we had a comment on this one, but it was kind of rolled into that last set of comments that I gave you. If the commenter disagrees with that, you can open up your mic now and comment. Allison's on the. She'll be ready to take your questions. Andreas, do you have anybody?
No, no one.
All right. So you guys, we went a little bit over the allotted time. That was the last proposal. Again, this was just to kind of, and we actually don't have time to take additional comments at this time. At the OGM, anything that is sent to me now will be in green. I'll go over this document one more time. We will be able to discuss anything that is new information that's put into this document. We will not have discussions due to the interest of time on proposals that didn't have comment today. With that, thank you guys for attending, and I'll see hopefully all of you at the ordinary general meeting. Andreas?
Yeah, thank you very much also from our side. Have a good travel if you are coming to the meeting. The session was recorded and will be made available for people who could not join the session to inform themselves. So as I said, thank you very much, Ernest. And you may have a surprise in Cambridge for everybody who's there, but that is a different story. And we are all looking forward to that surprise. Now I made it made people very curious, but I have to, that's part of the job. So thank you very much to everybody for your comments and your participation and the valid comments you gave. Yes, I think I said everything I needed to say on that. The recording will be made available and you can see that from the next news. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.